Knock 'em Dead Podcast, Episode 8. Today we're going to be talking about River's Edge, the 1986 movie starring TV's Keanu Reeves.
At the time.
And we're going to be talking about some awful natural disasters that happened here in Kentucky the past few days.
I'm sure everybody knows about it, but we were, right near it.
Yeah,
Luckily, it didn't affect us, and it's terrible for anybody that did it.
Yeah,
it did affect.
Where we live, it just knocked down some trees and blew some garbage and debris around, but just a few miles north of us, it wiped out a little community, and of course, west of us, it annihilated a few towns, and then south of us, it tore up Bowling Green, which isn't that far from us either.
No.
But
yeah, we'll get to that and talk about it a little more after I guess we talk about what we've been up to. Unless I cut you off.
No, yeah, you're good.
All right.
What have we been up to?
I've been looking like Richmond from the IT crowd. That's what I feel. Because I was like, who do I look like? I look like I'm a bad embalming job or something. And he said, hey, you look like that guy from the IT crowd. And I was like, yeah, you ain't wrong.
Don't you mean the IT crowd?
Oh, God. We're not going there with that. But, well, I thought I beat Dragon Quest XI. And I posted a story on Instagram, and I was like, man, I was kind of upset with that ending. But I'm going to start Dragon Quest VIII, which I did on the PS2 for a little bit. But then I saw Cody Knar reply to my story, because we've been talking about Dragon Quest XI, because he...
Also known as K Nizzle.
Where?
I don't know.
In your head?
Yeah.
All right. Mark that one down, Cody. But he replied to my story, and he was like, you beat Kalasmos? And I was like, what? He's like, there's a whole, other game almost after you go through the main story. And I was like, what? So, I promptly stopped playing 8. Not that I didn't like it, but I loved 11, that main story, and up to where you beat the boss the first time, the first main story. And when you put 100 hours into the game, because at this point I'm at almost 200 hours because I'm about to actually wrap it up and beat the game, but I've been kind of doing everything I can. In RPGs, I always get the most powerful weapon, but in this case, one of the recipe books for forging is in the goddamn casino. I do not like the casino. I don't. I would rather fight the hardest monster in the game than go to that damn casino. I tried. I was like, nope. I don't need it. So I just been doing those trials at Angri-La. I don't like Grandmaster Pang. She's cynical and sarcastic for no reason and calls the luminary a little boy. I'm like, I don't like you. But, yeah, I'm at level, 99 now, almost all my party, and it's a lot easier to beat those trials. But, yep, I'm on the third trial in the thing you have to do for the story in order to get to Kalasmos. So I'm on the third one, and I'm just wrapping everything up, doing that third trial, and already getting the pregame sads, because I know I'm going to be done. But at least I have 8 to play.
And 2,000 other games that we own.
Yeah, but I mean, when you play a game like an RPG and you put a bunch of hours into it, and it feels like you got friends, and you're like, well, I'm never going to see him again. I mean, you play the game again, but that's a long-ass game. It'll be a few years. I mean, I haven't played 8 in a few years, and I'd like to play that again. But,
Final Fantasy 8.
Yeah, I just assumed.
You can't just say 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Final Fantasy 8. But I know there's a lot of RPGs to play, but it's so good. Every part of the story just comes back together. And if I do say so myself, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the second go around, like after you beat the first main boss, I guess, Hendrik is like super sassy to Salvando. And I'm like, where did this come from? What did he do to you? And Salvando's just like, I'd have been like, screw you guys, I'm going home. But, yep, that's, I've been making a bunch of, Christmas candy. White chocolate suckers, as they call them here.
In most places.
They're like lollipops. I don't know, that's what I call them. Is that a Jersey thing? I don't fucking know. But, yeah, I've been making cookies and candy and chocolate turtle pretzel things with Rolos. Janine said the same thing I was thinking. Every time I'd see that Rolo bag, I'd think of Rolo Tony Brown Town, the thing from Tim and Eric, where they're trying to make that jingle. But they're really good. And I'm going to make those marshmallow things. I think I called them Whizzles before.
Whizzles?
Yeah, because some old lady... we used to work with, because I made bags of candy for, people we worked with. And, so I like baking and cooking and all that shit. But, it was the lady that kind of looked like a bird, but wasn't bird lady.
Oh, Kathy?
Yeah. She was like, what do you call these? What do you call these? I was like, why does it have to be called something? Just eat it. I was like, Whizzles. I don't know. And she's like, Whizzles? But I remember that, so I guess that's what they're called. Then she proceeded to pick up the crumbs. But it's just butterscotch peanut butter marshmallows. It's awesome. And been making a bunch of other stuff. Made a sugar scrub that I put too much CBD in. So it's like, you use coconut oil, brown sugar, and then, an essential oil. And instead of that, I chose to put CBD in. And usually it says like 2 drops. Because, you usually put it under your tongue or whatever. I was like, squirt, squirt. And then I mixed it up with my hand. And I was like, whoa. I feel pretty good. And I was like, hey, can you absorb things like through your skin? And Aaron was like, Yes. Why? I was like, might have swashed around the the mixture I got in there. And he was like, yep. Yeah, that's how that works. And then right after I had it on my hands and I washed it off and the residue was still kind of on there, the cat ran up to me and licked it twice. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then she just was like, and sat in the same place for like an hour. It was great. She's tearing ass around the house, yelling her head off, playing with everything in existence, biting my hand when I'm trying to do an interview, that sort of thing. What have you been up to?
Nothing. Well.
That's it. That's the podcast. See you next time.
Donkey Kong. Did anybody stick around to hear the Donkey Kong thing at the end of the last podcast? It was funny.
You just comment. Just comment. Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells.
But I have been working in the wood shop with my dad, selling old lady signs and biker signs and stuff. And I started putting the clear coat on the base I'm building for old Scott.
That looks really good. Looks awesome. He did a really good job on the binding.
Well,
the whole thing, but...
Scott's going to hate it.
He's going to throw it in a fire and be like, you're a mistake! And he's going to point to Aaron.
Besides that, today I started refinishing this dirty old Strat. So that's going to be my next fun project.
Are you going to say exactly what kind of Strat it is? Because it's not very common, is it?
Not that rare.
Why are they so expensive then?
I don't know. Because everybody likes them. It's like an old 80s
Does it feel good? Like if you clean up the frets and you polished them and you leveled them and like cleaned off the neck like you were doing. Like tell them what.
I was going to.
Oh, I'm sorry. There I go again.
Just steamrolling through my week.
Staple my mouth shut and call me Bill.
Bill.
I don't know.
It's an old like late '80s plywood body Squire Strat, but someone like painted it with latex wall paint for some reason. This really ugly gray.
I already knew this, but it disgusts me every time.
Well, it's black again now. I mean, I scraped and sanded all that off, but I'm gonna have to paint it.
How many coats do you think they put on of that crap?
Not a whole lot. I sanded off pretty quick. But,
it was good. They were done. They were like.
Well, it was covered and it had like hairs and like brush bristles stuck in it.
Brush bristles. That's definitely how you paint a guitar.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not supposed to use a brush. You're supposed to spray it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Who is this person?
I don't know. You got a hair on your nose.
That's my nose hair.
It
lives there.
The neck was like this. I guess they tried to age it, like make it look like it's been played and really old, but they like just put brown stain over the clear coat, so the neck was all nasty, and
it looked like they used it to wipe their ass and then clear coated over it.
But I sanded all that off today, so it's all pretty and mapley again.
It didn't even look like the same neck. Sounded like I'm on some show. Didn't even look like the same neck.
But the old '80s Squire logo had to go away, so it's gone.
Well, you could do a stencil of that.
I've got a Fender logo water cling from when I refinished that P bass. It was like the extra one. So I'll be lying and saying it's a Fender, but it's not like I'm gonna sell it.
Now everybody knows.
You know I'm a phony. But besides that, I started playing Final Fantasy 12. What?
I thought like the audio went out or something.
No. I started playing Final Fantasy 12. I like when it came out. I think it came out in like 2006. I think a long time ago. It was like when I was in high school.
A long time ago.
I hated it. I played it for like 11 hours, but at the time I was like skateboarding all day, and I'd come home and play RPGs like half asleep. So I'd like doze off. So that's probably some of the 11 hours.
The beginning of that, I did not get far, but the beginning of that is heavy on the cutscenes. So you're probably like falling asleep during the cutscenes, and you're like, come on, let's go. But
I actually like it now. I gave it a chance to go a little farther than I did before, and it's pretty good.
The voice acting, though, one of the guys sounds like Douglas from Dark Place. Who is this Renwick customer? Which one is that? Is that Bosch that sounds like that?
No, it's a Balthier, or however you say it. I'd say I'm probably...
Oh, watch that light bulb.
I am.
Okay.
Probably halfway through. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
I think. I don't know. I don't know how long it is. What else have I done? We watched River's Edge.
Yeah. We watched...
Like, we'd seen it before, but we watched it just to...
Yeah, I've seen the video. I watched it without him, and he's like, you watched it without me?
Yeah, we both love that movie. And she watched it without me.
I'm sorry.
We were gonna go watch Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but that's what I was thinking of, and I forgot.
But I guess we'll have to do that next weekend.
Yeah, because of the tornado. Because a lot of the power went out in the town that we were going to go see the movie in, and the weather was not great yesterday either. That's when we were going to go see it, right?
Yeah, well, it was windy. The weather was fine.
Personally, I still wouldn't have...
Well, they didn't have power at the theater And their
Oh yeah, that
phones
would have
didn't
been
work.
a.
The town Hartford, where the theater we go to is, got like the north side of it got hit by one of the tornadoes and wiped out their power for a big chunk of that county. It's like the next county over from us, and a few people, lost their houses. I don't think anyone died in Hartford, so I think that's good. But
That was the biggest tornado, the main one.
apparently, it's like one of the biggest ones in American history.
Yeah, on the news broadcast you were watching earlier, or the video of one was saying it was just the biggest tornado in their history. That thing was.
It went like 219 miles.
Was that the one that you saw?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go outside the house. I didn't want to think about it.
It was close enough to us that I could see it from our front porch.
That was scary.
Which we live on a hill and you can see for miles off in the distance.
Yeah, but still, that was like he showed me a video because, like I said, I was just trying to stay busy because what are you going to do if that comes through besides going to your crawl space or your basement or whatever you have that would be safe? And it would just, drive me nuts to think about it. So I think I was folding laundry or changing the sheets or something, or
I was riding an exercise bike and taking a shower.
he decided to take a shower right as it got bad. And I was thinking, like, if I have to run down there and I have to yank his ass out of the shower naked, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. But
I didn't get electrocuted and we didn't get blown away. But I think the governor said there's probably about 100 deaths from all the tornadoes.
I thought there was more than that. That's terrible. I'm glad there wasn't more, but that candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky, because the city of Mayfield got annihilated. It's unreal.
And the town Dawson Springs, which is like halfway between us and Mayfield, they got destroyed too.
The path of the tornado, and I'm not saying this like, I don't know how to put it. I don't mean to say like. What I mean is that we're lucky that it did not come through here, but I feel awful for anybody that had it come through because I don't even know. I would have been so scared if something actually happened because, like I said, what can you do? I don't even know what to expect with that. Like, would you get hit with debris? Would you get thrown?
I don't know. I mean, there's been tornadoes that have come through here like when I was a kid and stuff, but there wasn't really any major damage.
We've seen. I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
I was gonna say we've seen tornadoes from the house before, but it was like nothing. That tornado, he took a video of it. It looked like, I'm not even trying to be funny. It looked like something from a video game. It was ridiculous. That's the only thing of mass proportion that I could think of. It looked unreal. It was huge.
I mean, it wiped out that entire town like in one swoop.
Because that was the one that went for over 200 miles, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one that hit Bowling Green wasn't nearly as big, but it still did a lot of damage. Like it went like into town and followed the bypass, and like it messed up some of the Corvette factory and the Corvette racetrack. Took out a lot of businesses, and then after the fact, when everyone was helping everyone get out of the destroyed houses and buildings, people started looting. Of course.
How could you do that at a time like that?
Yeah,
you have to be a piece of shit.
They were going into the businesses that had all their windows busted out and the roofs blown off and getting whatever they could get. It's like,
you know what? That's why the world is in the state that it's in. I'm not getting political. It's no politician. It's no God. It's everybody. It's everybody acting like that. That just shows when there's crisis, there's assholes. And you definitely see it when there's crisis. because they don't think about anybody but themselves, and they do terrible stuff like that and make it worse for everybody, because I'm sure some of those businesses were small businesses who took a huge hit actually from this and are going to not be able to financially recover. They're not going to have their supplies that were looted. They're not going to be able to continue with their business, because there's no way, if you're a small business, especially with COVID going on, that you could continue, and then you got that shit too. Human beings disgust me, and I hate it. Oh, not all of them, but I mean, just there's too many cases of this shit. A tornado and you loot.
Yeah, especially the ones that the tornado didn't affect them, and they're going down where it did get destroyed, and they're stealing stuff.
Scum. They should just be gone. Gone. They have no use existing. But you know what? Yeah, I could go on a long time about how people are absolute garbage, but you know what? I hope that everybody that is affected by this, and anybody that knows anybody that's affected by this, will help however they can. I'll look into it. We don't have much money, but you know what? I'll look into it.
Well, our friend Nick from Bahargum, our bass player Scott's other band, he's putting together a compilation of a bunch of Kentucky bands, and he asked if we wanted to put one of our songs in there, so I sent him our music. I told him just pick whichever one he wanted, and
didn't know about that.
It was when you were in the living room.
Oh, okay, all right.
And,
not that I would have been mad. I just was like, I just figured you said something. That's, I guess you continue.
Yeah, he's gonna put that all together, and like all the money that it makes is gonna go towards a tornado relief fund. That's
great. And if anybody, I'm not sure which relief funds there are, but if you'd like to help, look into that. Like I said, we weren't affected by it. I just was scared, and that's the best possible scenario with a tornado being that close.
Yeah, we got a few branches in the yard, and it blew our trash can, I think, like across the yard, because I picked it up the other like Saturday.
The wind had to have been terrible, because when I thought I had to run to safety was when it sounded like, in movies when there's like an explosion in a house or something and the windows explode. That's what it sounded like was going to happen, because it sounded terrible, and the cat was really scared. I felt bad. It's just no good, and I can't imagine being in the path of that tornado. But like I said, if you'd like to donate to a relief fund, it'd be cool.
And whenever the tornado relief compilation comes out, I'll put it in the description, and it'll be on our Facebook page and the band Blood Curse Facebook page.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that we're on something that goes towards that.
It'll be like Bahargum and Fornicus and the Black Knife and a few other bands.
Pretty good stuff. It's good cause, good bands.
And we'll all be helping everyone who's lost their homes, all their stuff. One guy I know, his name's Rob. He lives outside of Mayfield, where most of the damage happened. He said he was in his house. He made a joke that morning on Facebook saying he doesn't rake his leaves, he lets a tornado blow them away. And then the tornado hit his house.
Damn.
Because, on the news, it said there's possibility for tornadoes, but it was low. And then the worst tornado in American history, conjured up and blew across there. And he said it just peeled the roof right off his house. And then everything else got soaked because it was like a downpour after the tornado went through.
That's terrible.
But I think he says his house is, there's no fixing it, but a lot of his neighbors came and put tarps over the roof so at least, it's not just getting, full of rain and.
Yeah, you don't want more damage done.
Yeah.
But that's what I like to hear. Well, not that, the roof getting blown up, but people helping each other in this time.
Mm-hmm.
Not looting.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah, like in our county where it did hit, like, up the road here in Rough River. Did you see where our friend Lindsay, like some of her family's house got messed up, and then
yeah,
the whole community came together and helped clean it up today. I mean, that's always nice to see.
Yeah, and I meant it's trash to loot when a tornado happens.
Or any natural disaster.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
hurricanes. Like, there's always looting after a hurricane, it seems like.
There's just a percentage of the population that doesn't need to exist, and that's it. That's who. I mean, and the people that come together, that's the part of humanity that doesn't suck. But I'm as Lindsay's family's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm glad of that.
Yeah, I don't think it hurt their house too bad. It's just they had a whole bunch of metal from like some outbuildings and I don't know what you'd call it, like a big barn, like where it's like where you can store your boat. Like for people that don't live here, they need to store their boat for the river. One of those got blown away, and it looked like it blew some boats down the street.
Well, you know what? Not to discount any of this, or, I mean, it's terrible. And I hope everybody recovers all right, but I didn't want
You have to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something good, like River's Edge.
Yeah, those big juxtaposition. But when do you think it was when we first saw that?
We first saw it. I saw someone post the soundtrack on.
Yeah, I remember you
something.
tell me about the soundtrack, and I was like, "What? That was in a movie?" Even though most of the songs.
Oh yeah, I remember. It was that Irish guy I'm friends with. He posted the soundtrack, and I was like, "What movie has?" Like,
Fate's Warning, Slayer, The Wipers,
Hallows
Agent
Eve.
Orange, yeah.
I was like, I need to see that movie.
Hallows Eve was the one that we were both like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know who the Wipers were before this movie, and I love the Wipers. I knew who Agent Orange was.
Even though, like, we haven't heard, like, I don't know where it is in the movie. Like
What, Agent Orange?
No, the Wipers.
I didn't hear Agent Orange or the Wipers, because you know when Agent Orange is on, and you know when the Wipers were on. All I heard was Slayer, Hallows Eve, and Fate's Warning.
I mean, I'm sure they're in there somewhere. It's in the credits and on the soundtrack. So
I swear I didn't hear it, because
they just wanted them for the soundtrack.
Maybe, because wasn't Keanu Reeves into that stuff?
Mm-hmm. Or I guess he still is.
Yeah, he probably still is. Him in the Game Awards, like, moving. I was like, is that really what you do? Okay. All right.
Yeah. This movie came out in 1986, and it's like Keanu Reeves' third real movie.
I thought it was his first real role.
Well, he was in a short film and then two smaller movies in this. This is his first, I guess, movie that, did okay for him, even though it was a really low budget indie movie, sort of. I mean, low budget is still $1 million budget, but.
What was that? What was Crispin Glover in before that?
Some crappy movie called Back to the Future.
He was in Back to the Future before that?
Yeah, it was 1985.
I guess him having his hair slicked back and dressed like that made him look a little bit older, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, they had that, and they made him look older because he's the dad.
And he's not saying, Matt!
Matt!
They fucking killed him!
This picture is rated R.
This picture of us is rated R. Don't look. It's because I look like Richmond from the IT Crowd. But yeah, they have Dennis Hopper in that movie as Feck, and every time Crispin Glover or Lane, his character Lane, says Feck, it just sounds like he's going Feck, Feck.
Or it sounds like he's saying
Feck.
Well, I was gonna say a homophobic slur.
Oh.
Sounds like he's yelling fag. It's like, cool it. Yeah. There's a lot of people in it that went on to do other stuff besides Keanu and Crispin Glover, like
Including the director.
I-1 Sky E.
I-1 Sky E. The reason I knew who she was because she is the naked lady on the cover of the Red Hot Chili Peppers album Mother's Milk.
Which I think is right behind you.
What?
It's like right here.
Well, you talk. I'm gonna find it.
Let's see.
Oh.
Joshua John Miller, which is
It's a very good album. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Their old stuff. And that's Ione Skye on the cover because she was Anthony Kiedis' girlfriend for a while, and he got her hooked on drugs, not phonics, not the good stuff.
Hooked on Muzzy. Joshua John Miller, who played Tim in the movie, Keanu Reeves' character's little brother, he went on to do
The Final Girls?
Yeah, The Final Girls, which we thought was okay. It's like a sort of small budget horror movie from a few years ago.
Yeah, it was decent. She looks totally different.
Yeah. Which, it is a black and white picture, and her eyes are closed, and her mouth's shut.
Not really. Her mouth's... The whole movie, she's just like... What? Like, how do you talk like that? Like, how are you like... So they just kill her, and you're gonna...
If you don't know who Ione Skye is, and you don't know what Mother's Milk is, she is the girl that Rob Lowe was banging in Wayne's World.
Yeah, in the beginning. No, Wayne's World.
She didn't say it like that, did she? What was his name? Daniel Roebuck, who played Samson in the movie, he went on to be in Matlock and a whole bunch of Rob Zombie movies. And he's going to be Grandpa Munster in the new Munsters movie that everyone's so excited about. And see who else was in it? Dennis Hopper. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do anything.
I don't think Keanu Reeves is gonna go on to do much either.
No.
Yeah. That's what every time I think of that movie, I think of him just saying, "They fucking killed him." But you know what? I mean, we're not gonna go through play by play with the whole movie. We're just gonna talk about the main points because I think I don't really like doing that, and we did it before. Just watch the movie. But when Crispin Glover Lane finds a dead body, it's very realistic. I was like, did this dude actually see a dead body before? Like the way he cries and screams. He might have been over the top and, crazy, but you remember it. Mm-hmm. And he did a good job. And his Beatles cool. I think so.
Yeah.
They used two different Beatles, by the way. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. One's a normal Baja Beetle, and the other one's got like a different, like a fiberglass front end on it, I think. And one has lights on the roof, and the other one doesn't.
Did you know?
No.
That I played drums? No.
All right, Jason.
They said that, or I already knew this, and I actually looked into the case because this movie.
Oh, it's loosely based on a real case.
Yeah, it says although it is a work of fiction, the movie was inspired by the murder of Marcy Conrad, who was killed by her boyfriend Anthony Jacques Broussard in man, this is making an idiot of me.
Milpitas,
California in 1981. Because the movie starts out with the.
He killed her, and then he went to school or he went somewhere and he was bragging about it to like 13 people before, and it was 2 days.
Oh
before
yeah, this
anyone,
was the actual case you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Like, it went 2 days before anyone decided to like turn him in.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Well, I mean, they were in high school.
Well, I don't know if he was in high school.
Maybe there might not have been a group of close friends, and I mean that's still odd. I'm not sticking up for the dude, but like, I'm still holding this record.
Yeah, the guy that wrote it, I think he was in film school at the time when that happened, and he heard the story, and then he inspired him to write River's Edge.
Yeah, I think so. But
there's another case that was really close. It was like two boys, and it was like they were best friends or something like that, and apparently the case is pretty similar to River's Edge.
But that's crazy that anything like that could actually happen, because I think the reason that I like this so much is because it's really on the darker side of things, because it's like a teen movie, but it's like the most morbid teen movie you could think of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it almost seems like a parallel universe where it should have been, them getting stoned in high school, going on adventures, but then one dude just cracks and strangles his girlfriend for no reason and goes crazy, and then the rest of the friends have to decide what to do. And it's like a major moral dilemma for people who haven't even fully developed in the brain yet, because they're, in the movie they're in high school, when in reality they're like 20, or no, Ione Skye was like 16, which I thought was weird, because her and Keanu had to like pretend to bang.
And he's 22 and Crispin Glover's 22.
Yeah.
I didn't see how old the guy that played Samson was.
He looked like he was like 25, maybe. A little bit older. Maybe it's because he's stockier. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that they all have different but similar reactions to the death of their friend, because most of the movie is set around their own feelings towards death, I feel like. And it's not so much that person died and they were close to him, because they even said, I don't know why I can't cry for Jamie. Jamie's her name, right? Because Jamie was the girlfriend that got strangled by Samson. John, stay in that thing he does when he's in Feck's house, when Lane's trying to hide John, and he's like, just stay in the house and don't show your face. It's like, what are you on? Are you Chris? I think he's just Crispin Glover. Maybe he sniffed too much rat dookie or something. I don't know.
Steven Spielberg gave him a bunch of coke, and he was still using his supply.
Seriously?
No,
I wouldn't be that
maybe.
surprised. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that it definitely seems like Lane, like there's something else bothering him. Like, I feel like he just is afraid that the friendship is going to go down the drain, and he wants to be part of a group, and he wants to be the leader of the group, because that's basically what he is, and what he says goes, and he doesn't want that to go away, so he's trying to keep everything together and keep John safe, and
it slowly drives him more and more crazy.
Yeah, and then Keanu's character,
Yeah,
I was about to say, he said his name like a million times. Take a shot every time Lane says "meow," but it's great. It's fun to say, but yeah, because Matt definitely has a dilemma, and it seems like he's thinking it through more. And when Lane first sees the body of the girl, he's just kind of like, well, we got to get rid of her. We got to protect John.
At first he thinks they're joking, and he pokes her with a stick.
And then he's kind of in shock, but then he's like, well, we got to bury her, and Matt's like, I'm getting out of here. And then Matt ends up, reporting him, and then they think that he did the murder, and it's just like everybody's on their own path, and they kind of converge at one point, because it's I feel like it's split up into John Feck, which is their dealer, which is this Dennis Hopper crazy guy who
is married to a blow-up doll
who killed his girlfriend, but he did it because he loved her.
Go on.
Oh, okay.
You said you were explaining and then you stopped.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason that John is staying with him is because they're like, well, you killed somebody and he killed somebody, so you protect him.
What? No, you were saying that they were in groups.
Yeah. So it was John Feck and Lane. And Lane was trying to keep everything together, and he was trying to keep everybody on John's side so that he could remain the leader and the group could still exist. And the two kids that were minor characters who were their friends at school are just kind of there. And they have...
I play guitar.
That dude... The report at the end where they're like, so you knew the killer and the victim? And he's like, yeah, I also play guitar. I was like, hoof. Was that in the script, or was he just like... Yeah.
Well, he wanted, a band to pick him up. He was hoping for some phone calls after that. Like, hey, man, we need a guitar player, man.
What did you say earlier with your weird face and your giant chin and your small mouth?
Yeah, you got the look we're looking for, man. You got that giant chin and that small mouth and that weird shaped head. And your hair looks like you're one of the Carpenters. But a little bit too much care in Carpenter, not the other guy.
And the guy's on the phone, just like,
See, you can come on down to auditions, man.
I heard him nod. He's coming. Matt! Yeah!
Yeah!
Sometimes it's not even comprehensible what that boy says. She's yelling in the car. I don't know why, but I always like the part where he goes like that, and Matt's like, what's that for? Feck doesn't charge. He was like, but I do. Do you think this thing runs on God's own methane? Or whatever the hell he said. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
And then the other group was Matt and...
Clarissa.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I can't remember her character's name.
Clarissa. Yeah, but they have a love thing going on, I guess. Or getting high in the park and banging.
That and since he turned in John/Samson, she thought it was a good idea. And
yeah, it seemed like they were on similar thought paths, because they both felt odd because they knew Jamie and they were friends with her, but they didn't know how to feel because they didn't... So much was going on, their one friend was a killer, the other friend was killed. They didn't know whether to turn him in, and, Matt ended up doing it, and he felt like a traitor, kind of, but, what else are you going to do? And then Lane finds out, and throughout all this, it's basically, besides, the murder being the center of the plot, the side plot is that Matt and his little brother, Tim, live in a broken family. So, like, the director had done a movie before that called Tex, where it was kind of like that. I didn't watch it, but I read about it because I was looking up what the director did. But Tex was about two brothers whose mom passed away, and then her dad passed away, and then they try and make it on their own. But this movie, in River's Edge, Matt and Tim's mom is with this shithead guy, and she's not a very good mom.
Jim.
Yeah. And Jim is an asshole, and he just sits around and eats and, mouths off and tells her she's a horrible mom, and she kind of is. She doesn't really, put forth an effort to know where her kids are, because the one Tim, the younger brother, way younger, like 12, is a delinquent, and he tries to smoke pot and be cool, and, he thought it'd be cool to get his little sister's doll and throw it off a bridge, and she was really sad, and she had a funeral for it, and Matt went to it, And then Tim crushed the gravestone for the.
Yeah, she made a gravestone with a stick and a paper plate.
Yeah, and then
he ripped up the paper plate.
And Matt was already upset because all this stuff was going on, and his friend, murdered, and his other friend got murdered, and he's having this moral dilemma, and then his little brother's being a little piece of shit. So he finds his brother, and he's like, "Why did you do that? Why did you have to kill her again? Tell me why." And he's like punching the kid, and then the kid gets like super butthurt, and he's like, "Get your nunchucks and your dad's car. No one stops these children in a car.
Yeah,
they stop Feck at the stoplight."
Yeah, and they 2 12-year-olds stealing their dad's car, and didn't the dad notice his car was gone?
Yeah, for real. It was like 2 days.
Yeah. And they were wearing, he was wearing the same dirty old Pyromania shirt the whole time.
But the kids go to Feck's house because they saw Feck's house because they had followed Matt and Lane before. And they were like, "I knew where we could get a gun," because Feck would open the door and say, "Checks in the mail," or some shit. And have the gun every time. So they saw the gun and they were like, "Well, I'm going to get that gun and I'm going to go home and shoot my brother." So Tim gets the gun and he
beats the crap out of Feck.
Yeah, and then they smoke his weed and fall asleep, and the next day they get up, get back in the car. Well, here we go, 2 12-year-olds in this giant-ass car. I mean, that's like having two, here's Jim's favorite sound effect. It's like, two little kids in this giant boat. It's like, how you not see that driving down the road? It's like, oh, 2 infants driving a car, have a good day. Oh.
Yeah.
But they go and get the gun, and by the time that Feck and John have been through all this stuff where John keeps wanting to leave the house, and Feck's like, "No, you gotta stay here," and then they ended up going to the lake where, or the river's edge, where, John wasted his girlfriend, and they were talking about it, and Feck, the guy whose girlfriend is a blow-up doll, and he killed his own girlfriend, thinks that John's crazy because he is. Like, he just wants to kill and be in control. And John ends up dead because Feck kills him. And the next day, when Lane is woken up by the police because he fell asleep at a red light in his Beetle, trying to keep this all together, trying to cover up for John. It's too much. He fell asleep, and the police got him, brought him in for questioning. And then he got out, and then he went and was trying to see who told, because everybody was down at the river. And Lane was like, "Where's John?" And then, Matt's like, "Why do you even care? He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about any of us. He doesn't care about himself. He's an asshole." And Lane's like, "He's not an asshole, Matt." And, they go back and forth, and then Lane's like, "I'm going to go find him." He finds him, but he's dead. And at that point, when they're all going to see what...
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. Uh-oh. You know what? It's not like... Anyway, yep. Oh, sorry. Bam, bam, bam. Post... Spoiler. Anyway. Who cares?
Spoiler warning in 5, 4, 3, 2,
10
5,
minutes ago.
4, 1. But he finds him.
Lane finds him, and as Matt's going to see what's going on, Tim, his little brother, comes up behind him, and he's like, "You're gonna pay for what you did. You turn around and look at me holding this gun." And then Matt's like, "I'm your brother. Put the gun down. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm just going through a lot." And then the kid realizes that he's, gonna kill his brother and puts the gun down. And that wraps up the brotherly bond there. But they end up having an open casket funeral for... They didn't show John's funeral.
Mm-mm.
That wasn't mentioned. But I guess the main thing in the story is the death...
Of Jamie.
And what these kids think of death and how they handle it and how they handle knowing that it was somebody they knew but they didn't know how to feel. And that there's just so many elements. And to think of the director thinking of the actual case in this way.
The writer.
Yeah, the writer thinking of the case in this way. It adds a lot to it, because if you do think of, if the kid was in high school, then you think like, wow, he probably did have a group of friends, and then that's probably how he put it together. And it's pretty realistic, because in high school, what would you have thought?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're friends with the dude who killed somebody. It's just weird.
And you don't get a whole lot of, you don't get much out of Samson or John, whatever you want to call him. So I guess it's kind of like he's the killer. So like the plot's not really based on him; it's just based on the friends.
He seems kind of catatonic to a point where it's like he's so crazy that he's not even. He's just vacant, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst kind of crazy, is when they don't say anything, and then all of a sudden, for no reason.
He just choked her to death because he felt like it.
Yeah. But the soundtrack.
Very good.
Tell you what, I made a playlist. If you're interested, it's public. I made it a while ago. It was a few years ago. On Thrash Dance Fanzine, my YouTube channel. I don't do Thrash Dance anymore. I don't put any videos on that channel. But if you look on my playlists, there's a River's Edge playlist. You got Agent Orange, you got the Wipers. You know what I felt like would have been awesome? TSOL. Anything Off Revenge. It would have been even Revenge. That would have fit perfectly. We were talking about how the music was kind of odd.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I already forgot who it was. Yeah, it's like something. It was something from the '60s, I think. But yeah, it just didn't fit. It was like kind of happy sounding at the end, and then some of the scores are weird.
Yeah.
Like the scores are like instead of sounding sad. It's like it's got these like violins in the background and they're like sad, and it's like.
You know what? You know what song definitely would have fit? Would have been
Well, don't pull up the
No,
song.
no. I'm trying to. I just want to see the title of it, but it's off the Agent Orange album. If you know what, this isn't loading, but it's let's see. All right, yeah. I looked up the song and it was the Wipers. It was not TSOL, but TSOL definitely would fit. It was Nothing Left to Lose. That would have been great for like, just a pan of a sad scene, or just them being indecisive about what to do or something. But yeah, I didn't hear Fire in the Rain by Agent Orange at all in that movie.
I'm sure it's in there somewhere, probably like playing at the grocery store or something.
Man, if I heard that at the grocery store, I'd shit my pants.
Or at the
Not shit my pants.
convenience store or whatever at the beginning.
Yeah, but the soundtrack I have on YouTube, like I said, is public. But I think I added a song. I added Nothing Left to Lose because I thought that was on the soundtrack, because what's listed on the soundtrack is Let Me Know, which seems kind of fitting, but not as fitting as Nothing Left to Lose. I mean, come on, the title itself is a good fit. But that album, the Wipers album, Land of the Lost, is really good too. And that makes me think of River's Edge every time I hear it. Or, I don't know why TSOL, Anything Off Revenge, makes me think of River's Edge. It's just like you could feel what the teenagers felt kind of through their performance, because that was a lot of their big breaks, I guess. I don't know if you'd call it that, but it was one of the first movies they were in, besides Crispin Glover, because obviously he was in a major blockbuster hit. And
that old guy that played Feck.
Dennis Hopper. How did they get him?
They were going to cast John Lithgow, which would have been terrible. Lord Farquaad himself. He didn't want it, so then they were going to give it to crap, now I can't think of it. Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton said, I want you to give it to my buddy Dennis Hopper. And then they showed it to him, and he was like, yeah, sure. And I think he was perfect because he's like really good at being a crazy person. And he's really good at being Bowser.
Wow, I forgot about that.
And Keanu Reeves walked in the door, and the casting director was like, that's my guy. It's like he didn't even get all the way in the room, and she's like, that's him.
And then he was like, whoa.
Whoa.
No, I'm not making fun of Keanu Reeves.
And
he did a good job in that movie.
I1 Sky was like her brother auditioned for one of the parts. Like he just sent in a picture, and the casting director saw her in the background of the picture, and then called up the brother and was like, can you have your sister come?
How much must that have sucked to answer the phone and be like, oh, hello. Yeah, is your sister there? Huh?
And she didn't even want to be an actress, apparently.
And then he got his little bindle and put it over his shoulder and was like, have a nice life. And just left.
And then Crispin Glover apparently came in wearing this crazy wig and like putting on this crazy persona for the character. And they were like, okay.
Thank you, hillbilly. Please leave.
They were like really confused, but they're like, we trust you.
I mean, the dude was in Back to the Future, so I'd just be like, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it worked out, and he's a good crazy.
He really did look like a teenager though. Like he pulled that off. Maybe it was his clothes.
And he was like really lanky.
Yeah, definitely.
And then,
why was Matt's shirt tie-dyed? Like, did they tell him to, or?
I mean, tie-dye shirts were popular in the 80s.
Yeah, he's a plain shirt kind of man anyway.
Yeah. I mean, not like everybody else was wearing band shirts.
Yeah. But he likes, didn't you say one of his favorite bands is Discharge?
Yeah, that's what I read in an interview with him from years ago.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he was in Point Break
with
Anthony Kiedis, who went out with Ione Skye. I don't know. Point Break's an awesome movie. Get me to Utah. Gary Busey films.
Our Busey episode's coming at some point.
Oh, I'm excited about that too. I'm also excited for Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal.
And Leonard Nimoy. And Sidney Poitier, or however you say his name. And Robert Smith's cameo in South Park.
Yeah, that was fun. That was season 1 because we've been watching South Park. I don't know how that show has been on so long, and it has never faltered. It's always funny.
When they were doing all that Snooki stuff, that was kind of meh.
Oh. Yeah, but I just wish she didn't exist, so.
And when Randy was that one pop star lord or whatever.
That was still funny, though. It never was like, oh, guys, what are you doing? It was just like certain pop culture things that we both didn't like.
Yeah.
Especially Snooki. When I moved here, do you know Snooki? If I did, she'd be dead. That's what I'd always say. And they'd be like, oh.
But that's Snooki. That's my favorite person in the whole world.
If that's your favorite person in the whole world, go live on the sun. Be gone.
But back to River's Edge.
Yeah.
The girl that played Jamie.
Jamie.
She got her part because she was sitting in the lobby waiting for a friend to finish.
With her crack pinkies.
Yeah. Like her friend was auditioning and she was sitting there waiting for her to get done, and the woman walked out and saw her. Was like, "You'd be perfect."
Her friend was in there trying to pinch off a turd or something, like, come on.
While she's doing an audition?
Oh, while she was doing an audition?
Yeah, she wasn't in the bathroom.
Damn. Oh, I thought she was like waiting for her, like, come on, Becky, get out of the bathroom. I got doo-doo speckles on the mirror. Please don't hold it against me.
And the guy that played John Samson, he walked in with his hair all greased back with, what was it, KY jelly, they said. And he had 2 beers in his pocket.
Why would he have that on him?
I don't know. I mean, people used to slick their hair back with that stuff for whatever reason.
Oh, what? Put it on your butt. Put it on your junk. Put it on your hair. Put it on your kid. I don't fucking care. Buy it.
Put it up your butt.
I guess you could. I don't know.
But he walked in. They're like, yeah, you know, you're doing pretty good. Yeah.
At that point, it was a frail old man doing the auditions. You want to come up here, sunny my eyes ain't what they used to be.
When they were making it, they were having some trouble because they were going to film in L.A. and they couldn't find a place that looked good. So then they were like, well, let's try San Francisco. I think it's San Francisco. And they found a spot next to the river that had a lot of trees and stuff, and they thought it was perfect. And then a storm hit and it flooded.
Wow.
So then they had to go back to L.A. and they found a spot next to a bunch of old tuberculosis sanatoriums.
Wow.
So,
yeah, you told me that earlier. That's going to be weird.
So
why were there sanatoriums built for tuberculosis? And why was the cure fresh air?
I don't know. That was why that place was so open, is because it was supposed to be for fresh air for the tuberculosis people. But after, those all closed, they started building houses there. Apparently it was a shithole.
Wow, that's... I'd like to go there someday, though. I mean, I want to go to California anyway, because I've always wanted to go to California. But
California knows how to party.
What song is that? Out of all the songs with California in it, like California Uber Alice or anything, what was that you just sang?
Tupac. All eyes on me.
Alrighty then.
So, if you have not seen River's Edge and you just listen to us explain everything and
spoilers, that was me.
Then rewind your brain before you heard all this and you go watch it.
Even if I did spoil it, which I'm sorry, it's still worth a watch for just the performances of these inexperienced actors for the most part. Giving a really convincing rendition of what it would, the scenario would be like if, that actually happened, or maybe what could have happened in that case that it was loosely based on. And, circumstances and the filming and, just everything. The soundtrack's great.
And the cover looks like an album cover.
Yeah.
Which I guess that was on purpose, though. It's like a Ramones album with a dead girl on top.
Yeah, pretty much. But the performance of Crispin Glover is a big part of that movie to me.
And the director, Tim Hunter, he went on to direct some Twin Peaks episodes and Breaking Bad and a few other shows.
You could kind of tell.
He only did 3 Twin Peaks episodes.
Yeah, but still, like, kind of the directing. The shot that reminded me of Twin Peaks the most is when Matt is in the police station and his mom comes to get him, and the camera pans up to the
little reflector mirror things that you see around the corner.
Yeah, and it was just showing what was going on through the mirror, and I thought that was very Twin Peaks-esque.
And the directing in this was really good. I'm surprised. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff through the years, but I'm surprised he hasn't done anything bigger. And it's funny how, Keanu and them they were all like kind of small actors at the time. Like you could tell in this that they were good actors and actresses.
Yeah. Like Ione Skye might not have shut her mouth. I mean, actually. Like, always had it open. But she's a good actress. And I saw Say Anything years ago, and I liked that movie. And she's in that.
And Girls in Prison.
I didn't see that.
No, we have it for whatever reason. Then Keanu Reeves went on to do John Wick and The Matrix.
I didn't really care for John Wick.
Yeah, it's alright.
I mean, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, obviously, the first time I saw Keanu Reeves. And I remember when I was a teenager, I thought he was cool. And the second one, whenever it was evil Bill and Ted. That was cool.
You thought he was hot.
No, I never thought. He had like a...
You thought Bill was hot.
Definitely not. But like, he had a weird... He's got like a pointy face and like a Ramones cut.
Whoa. And he still has that same haircut after all these years.
Yes, that's what I was about to say, but like, I'm not trying to knock him. I just thought he's cool. There's a difference. But like...
And he likes motorcycles.
Yeah, it seems like... What the hell is that?
Light bulb fell on my foot.
Well, he seems like a cool guy. Cool actor.
He likes to eat sandwiches next to birds.
That's just grounds for friendship right there. Hey, bud, I heard you like eating sandwiches next to birds.
He likes to wait in line at his own benefit thing in the rain. And then he finally gets to the front of the line, and the security guard's like, "Why didn't you just come in?" And he's like, "I don't know."
He was eating sandwiches with birds.
How did nobody else in line see him? I guess he had a hood on or something.
I don't know.
It's like, why wouldn't you, if it's for you, why wouldn't you just go in?
That's a great Keanu Reeves costume, bro.
It's like if we had a show and we like loaded in our stuff and then we went out front to stand in line to go in with the
They'd still make us
attendees.
pay. They wouldn't know who the fuck we were. Are you the merch girl?
Yeah, I think. See, he cut his hair off. He had short hair in Point Break, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He had short hair in Speed. He had short hair in the Matrix movies.
I like how in Point Break, by the way, that Gary Busey was his partner.
Yeah.
That was the best. He's like the seasoned cop. We'll talk about Point Break at a later point, maybe.
We'll talk about the remake, The Fast and the Furious, not the actual Point Break remake. I've never seen that. I don't want to.
Old Point Break. That's an awesome movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we told James our friend James Ray, we hadn't seen it before. He's like, "You haven't seen that? Get me to Utah."
I had seen it on TV when I was young, but I didn't remember it at all.
I feel like this is going towards that. You know what? Would you like to wrap it up here?
Yeah. Next week we're going to be having our Shrek-trospective. We're going to talk about Shrek.
It's Shrektober.
We're going to talk about Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek the Third, Shrek Forever After, or whatever it was called. Scared Shrekless and Shrek the Halls. We're going to talk about Puss in Boots and Puss in Boots 2 and the entire Puss in
Just
Boots.
fade out here. This isn't going to happen.
The entire Puss in Boots animated series. And we're going to talk about the soundtrack. We're going to talk about Smash Mouth. We're going to talk about Gingy's rap,
Jesus, what?
Gingy's rap hits of 2004.
Who?
Gingy, Gingerbread Man.
How much did you look into this?
That's not real.
Hell, I don't know. You got a whole Shrek's-averse.
We're going to
Well, you
talk
know what?
about Sharon Osbourne's ball chin.
Well, I don't want to talk about Sharon Osbourne. You know what? We're going to talk about something else, and we're not sure yet.
We're going to talk about how this enforcer shirt is supposed to be a medium, but it's like not at all.
I got that for you like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what? I have to use the bathroom, and I've
20.
got a game to beat.
Yep.
No, we got to go to bed, actually.
It's like 12:30 a.m.
Great. All right, well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week talking about something that's not Shrek.
That's hard to say. Shrektrospective.
Either that or Shrek will come to our house and beat us up and take over our podcast.
We're going to talk about Shreksaphone.
Oh my god, now it's going to be stuck in my head.
All right. The tornado relief stuff will be down in the description. And if it's not, check our Facebook page or our Instagram.
Yes. I was going to say Shrekulator, and then you went and said that, and now it would just sound...
Shrekulator. Thank you all for listening. This has been Shorkum Dord.
Shrekum dead.
Shrekum dead. All right. See you later. Go watch River's Edge.
Yeah.
Go watch Shrek.
I guess.
Go watch the Buttercream Gang.
Yeah, we both kind of knew the killer, as well as, or in addition to, who he killed too. And because of that, it's pretty hard for us to be
Objective?
Yeah, that's it, objective. Since we did know the two alleged people involved and everything. And whereas we might be all, upset this morning or something, we're not, because of the fact that we're not objective at all. I also play guitar, by the way.